Huge transfer update for Tottenham Hotspur today. I wish I could be bringing that to you. It's all right, though, because we tried to sign Semenyo in January. We tried. We tried, guys. We tried. Do you remember, like, we tried to sign Eze, like we tried to sign Rivaldo, like we tried to sign João Moutinho, like we tried to sign Willian. The list goes on and on and on. In fact, in the comments, put your favourite Spurs failed transfer story in there, and the winner will get my respect. You've earned it. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a transfer update in today's video. I want to talk about some of these comments from Thomas Frank. There'll be a Man City preview out tomorrow as well, so make sure to go and watch that. There might be another video later on as well, so keep your eyes peeled and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that. These Semenyo quotes that Thomas Frank has just come out with, right, in the press conference. And look, I don't want to start this weekend off on a negative note because I was pleased with the week, and as you'll see in the preview, I feel like I'm kind of going into the game against City with a little bit of optimism. Shoot me. I know it's Man City. I know we always beat them and all that kind of stuff. But I actually have. And I'm not saying that I think Frank can turn it around and all that kind of stuff. I don't. But I just like, oh, come on. Come on, man. This is why... Well, this is definitely part of the reason why he hasn't been sacked yet. And I'm not saying that Thomas Frank is going to start firing shots at the owners after 2 transfer windows and all that kind of stuff. But he is very much towing the party line, and he's feeding Spurs fans with guff that we've heard a million times before from this ownership in a different form. A leopard doesn't change its spots and all that kind of stuff. And it feels like it's still very much maybe Joe Lewis kind of running the show behind the scenes, and it's just the kids kind of window dressing there, and nothing has actually really changed, and you have to question. And I've actually been more of an advocate of Johan Lang's recruitment than maybe some other people, but I think it's the processes at the club that you can 100% question, and that is what I question here. I will get the full quotes from Alistair Gold in a moment, but top line, Thomas Frank says, attempting to sign Antoine Semenyo shows the board are committed to the club. I can promise the Lewis family are super committed, and there is no doubt that the club is clear. I will break a rule. We wanted to sign Semenyo. That is a big signing. He goes on to say it's a big signing in terms of the financial thing. It would be a statement, all that kind of stuff. Look, I have no issue with that. No issue with him coming out and saying that. Well, I do, but on face value, you know, it's a fine thing to say. But also, you're coming out and just blindly kind of backing your owners and feeding Spurs fans with, you know, this is a path well trodden for Tottenham fans. We've been down this road so many times where the manager, as the mouthpiece for the club, has kind of come out and said it. You know, they've tried. We tried FC. We've done everything we can. Pochettino was one of the only managers. Well, I mean, Conte did it as well, to be fair. And Mourinho at points. But he come out and said there's no point in having this nice house if you can't put the furniture inside. And I just think Thomas Frank is towing the party line so much. And he goes on, and it's self-preservation. I think he's trying to keep his job as well. When he talks about the fact that him and Vinay and Lang are so aligned, we go out for lunch and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, this is why they're so aligned, because he's just feeding to the fans what they're probably saying to him. I question the process behind the scenes, right? Because there is a bit in, I'll see if Spurs Army have tweeted the full kind of quotes. Also, Matty Tell is expected to stay at Spurs, which is a good bit of transfer news. There's some other bits I want to speak about today as well. Where was it? Where was it? I think it was... let me go on Alistair Gold's... brace yourself for going on the Football London website. Brace yourself. Or I might be able to get the quotes here. He said... Thomas Frank, that's the quality of players we are looking to improve the squad. And if we can't find that, then it's definitely better to take the right decision. It's not the same that we're just getting quality players going forward, because we all know it's not that easy. And I'm sure if we're not, for whatever reason, able to get another player in or players in this window, then for the summer, it's a big summer ahead. And I'm sure we'll see big improvements there. It's just like, again, I don't really mind Spurs. There's another bit where he talks about like the process behind the scenes. They want to be successful. We all wanted to be doing better, but processes are starting to be ticked behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff, right? Again, a lot of what Thomas Frank is saying there is true. If you can't get the guy that you want, that you feel like is going to improve the squad, then I don't mind waiting. But we were still being told after we missed out on Semenyo, and I said this in my video on Sunday night talking about the transfer window, we were still being told that the club's priority was to bring in a left winger. Antoine Semenyo was that guy, but this was after we knew that we weren't going to get him. So one, where has that money gone? Where has that intent gone? And who were the backup targets? Because you can't just go into a window saying that that is going to be your priority, briefing that to the fans, creating this groundswell of excitement that you're going to improve the squad, and then wondering why people are getting angsty and irate on social media, and protests are kind of being planned for games, as is the case on Sunday as well, when they felt like they are constantly being fed lies. That is what we are being told by Alistair Gold, who is a reputable source when it comes to Tottenham stuff, and other major outlets as well that are reporting Tottenham want to sign a left winger this January transfer window. And he clearly doesn't, despite the fact that Matisse Tell looks like he's going to stay at Tottenham. He's used him fleetingly when that's a player that he could use out there. He's preferred to use Jed Spence at left wing over there. So he clearly sees it as an issue within the squad, right? So why haven't Spurs looked to rectify that? Because there are options on the market that could improve that left wing situation. It's all gone quiet on Magnus Akliouche. There was something coming out from Poseidon, Spurs journal yesterday, who, again, you don't know who to believe in these kind of things, but he said negotiations had stalled with AS Monaco for Magnus Akliouche after Spurs were informed that a move would only be possible following the conclusion of the Champions League group stage. Spurs are now expected to push hard for an attacking signing with Akliouche high on the list. Now, this is classic Tottenham all over in the sense that there'll probably be some links that... What's the deadline? Deadline's Monday, right? There'll probably be some links that kind of come about and it'll be, we're going to try, we're going to push hard. And it's like, we'll probably left it too late. Monaco aren't going to want to sell to us. And we'll kind of just be led down the garden path again and we won't have improved the squad. All we've done so far in this January transfer window is weaken the squad. And Thomas Frank has got unlucky in some aspects with the injuries that he's had. Yes, we've had a few in midfield and we've brought in Conor Gallagher, right? But we've only brought in Conor Gallagher and Sousa so far. And I just think, regardless of the fact that... Okay, I could understand, right, if Tottenham were in and around the European places and he trusted some of these players a little bit more. And it was like, right, okay, well, we know we're not going to win the league or anything this year. Those are the ambitions for the long term, but we're going to really improve this squad in the summer. We are getting worse and worse and worse. It's kind of a need at this point for Spurs to go out and do business. Once again, by the way, a partner with FOTMob on this video. So if you go down and click the link in the description to download the app, it will take you to there. Go to the settings page on the app, scroll right down to the bottom, press redeem code, type in the code GOAL, and you'll be entered with the chance to win a football shirt of your choice. Again, 5 of them away before the 10th of March, so make sure to be speedy. FOTMob is a brilliant app for football stats. I use it for a lot of my videos, so make sure to go and check it out. Tottenham are in a needs-must situation when it comes to improving the squad right now. And there are players out there that would be able to do that. Whether it's Ademola Lookman, whether it's Magnus Akliouche, show a bit of ambition and get targets over the line because you clearly feel like it is a priority position. If you want to talk about the processes improving behind the scenes, you do not just go into a transfer window with that one target in mind. And if we miss out on them, go, well, at least we tried. You know, we were going to throw money at it. But that's fine. If you land them, it works. But we knew that every man and their dog were going to be in for Antoine Semenyo this January transfer window. The process absolutely stinks. Absolutely stinks. Who were the other alternatives? Because there must have been some. We've not heard any links whatsoever outside of Antoine Semenyo. And we've heard throughout this transfer window that Spurs want to improve the attack. That's been the line coming out of the club. They can control the narrative that goes into the media, and they wonder why fans are getting upset and angry. I know there'll be a lot of journalists that will chat a lot of rubbish, but a lot of this is coming from respectable sources that have good links within the club that have put out that Spurs wanted to sign another attacker this January. And we've done absolutely nothing. Thankfully, it does not sound like Jean-Philippe Mateta is happening because he's on his way to AC Milan. Looks like Randall Kolo Muani is staying. And I feel a bit sorry for Muani actually in this aspect because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't feel sorry for him in terms of the turgid performances that he's put out and it's looked like he's not cared and all that kind of stuff, right? And I buy into that as well. It's been very frustrating his loan period so far. But there's a lot of rubbish coming out of the Italian media that he's not giving up on it, Juventus aren't giving up on it and all this kind of stuff. When you can't believe a lot of what comes out of the Italian media. You can't. And I just feel sorry a little bit for Muani that his relationship is being soured because a lot of people are believing every single rumour that they read, saying if that's the case, then he should be off and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, actually, no, he didn't really look like a player that didn't want to be here on Tuesday night or Wednesday night against Frankfurt. But we need to see an improvement from him. And I think, obviously, the fact that him and Tell are staying, obviously, Tell especially, that is obviously a big, big positive. But they wanted to upgrade this area of the squad in this transfer window, and they have not done it. We've had injury after injury after injury. We sold Brennan Johnson at the start. Mohamed Kudus got injured. Wilson Odobert is on a good run of form right now. This is probably the best run of form I think he's ever had in a Tottenham shirt. Looking like our most exciting attacker, really starting to produce, and I think it's really great to have him, as a backup for Mohamed Kudus or as a rotation option for Kudus on that right-hand side moving forward when Kudus does return. But Wilson Odobert's injury history at Tottenham has been sketchy to say the least as well. Spent a long time out last season. He's been more available this season, I'd say. He's played 21 games in the Premier League. That's how many games have Tottenham played at this point? 23? I think we played 23. So he's been basically available for all our games. And maybe the fitness team or the medical team have done their work on him and he looks like he's in a better place now. But he had a lot of injuries last year, and it's expecting a lot from him to be that right winger for the rest of the season, because God knows when Kulusevski is going to come back. And then what on earth does our attack look like? It's square pegs in round holes. It's Dane Scarlett coming on the right-hand side, which was what happened against Aston Villa. It's Kolo Muani coming on that right-hand side, a position that does not suit him. Spurs have a clear need to address that wing position in this January transfer window. And we have not done it, and we have failed. And Thomas Frank, like I said, is almost being the mouthpiece for the club. The club are trying to gaslight us in this situation. We've been down this path before of failed targets. You are not showing enough ambition to go out and get someone in this window that can help improve us. There are players there. Akliouche, Lookman, Diamonde as well. They didn't want to spend the money. And to be fair, Diamonde, I wasn't that hot on because I think he's young. I think it's a bit too early for him to move to the Premier League. But there are other guys out there, other versatile kind of attackers. We went through this the other day, right? If you go to the market, let's have a look at some players. Let's go position, forwards, age group 23 to 30, bit of experience. Who could potentially be available at Spurs could go and get. There's been not even a sniff around Omar Marmoush. I know City apparently didn't want to necessarily let him go, but we didn't even, tried. We've not reignited interest in Semenyo. Oscar Bob has gone to Fulham. Bournemouth have gone and strengthened as well. They've brought in Ryan, the young Brazilian kid. And I'm not saying that was definitely the answer for Tottenham, right? But the point is that when you look at the Premier League table and all these teams in and around us, Bournemouth have strengthened. Crystal Palace, again, you can question their business to an extent in terms of bringing in Johnson and potentially Strand Larsen or Gesson, but they are making an active effort to strengthen. I'm not saying Spurs should just go out and buy anybody. I'm not saying that for a second. And just because I wouldn't necessarily want those players at my club, Leeds have been interested in Strand Larsen. Forest have strengthened in this transfer window as well, or are looking to certainly do that. West Ham have done that. They're trying to do that. And meanwhile, we're trying to get rid of one of our players to West Ham. Make it make sense. And this is what I said the other day. I think we're kind of sleepwalking into this relegation battle with the club not realising the severity of not acting in this window. I understand that signing certain players creates certain problems when all the squad players are back from injury, right? But we need players now, even if it's loan deals. Like we were linked with Diaby yesterday. I'm not sure how realistic that actually is, whether that will actually happen, whether he'll come back to England for tax purposes or not. But it's just so frustrating when you look at pretty much every other kind of team in and around that area of the table, doing their best to try and improve. And like I said, I'm not saying that we should go out and just sign anybody. But there are players there, like I said, Akliouche, there's other guys. There are other guys. And I don't want Mateta, but there's been, what about trying to show a bit of ambition and going and get Iliman Ndiaye? Someone like that, right? There's other forwards out there that can make a difference to Tottenham right now. Lookman, I did hear in the summer that apparently one of the reasons they didn't pursue Lookman was because of questions around his character and all that kind of stuff. But genuinely, needs must right now. We are in a bad situation. And we are relying on Odobert not getting injured. We're relying on Xavi not getting injured. And I think, look, with those two kind of playing in the 10 in this system, I like it. And we are blessed in the sense that we didn't have that extra playoff game in the Champions League. And so there's not as many fixtures. But the fixtures are coming thick and fast. And there's been no real active effort to improve this squad with the situation that we're in right now. And I just find that pretty unacceptable. We have been unlucky with players getting injured. But why are we not signing? Why are we not signing players? Why are we not doing that? And the thing is, it's not even just about signing players that are backup. I do fundamentally agree that you should always look to sign a player that you feel that can improve your team. But sometimes in January, you've got to be smart and use the market. And I don't mean getting Raheem Sterling on loan. But also, there are other players here that would help improve the squad. They really wouldn't improve the team that Spurs have just not pursued. It's a frustrating one. It really is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back with more videos over the weekend. I'm actually looking forward to the City game, which is annoying. And I'm just kind of... it's just put me in a bad mood, these quotes coming out this afternoon. And I get it from Frank, I do. But where was the backup? Who were the other targets? It's a shambles at Spurs. It really is. And I think we're sleepwalking into a relegation battle and the club don't take it seriously enough. Make sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel with this community that we're building. Make sure to download FOotMob by using the link in the description. Enter the code GOAL on the settings page. Redeem code. Type GOAL. You'll be entered in with a chance to win a football shirt of your choice. Nice one.